So I wanted to talk a little bit about sustainability and what it means to every individual out there. And it's so personal, and everybody has this different perspective of what it means to them. And so that's true to our customers as well. So when we talk about what is the right sustainability certification, there's so many of them out there. The terms and definitions that are out there, again, such a multitude of definitions. And so sometimes I would think it's like sustainability overload, and what is the right product to buy? What's the most sustainable? How do I understand all of these acronyms and standards and certifications? And so there's a lot of information, and people want to make the right decision, but how do they do that with all of these varying definitions and terms? And so the area that I want to focus on a little bit with this group, because we're talking to legislatures, is regulation. And so Mohawk, we're a global company, and we must meet regulations and standards from countries all across the world. And today we have regulations, we have draft regulations, and they're all coming into response to how do we regulate or provide this collective framework so that we can continue to improve our future. But it also has done is it's introduced different standards, different definitions, and we're working across a multitude of framework to share information to show all of the good work that we're doing in the area of environmental, social, and governance. And if we listen to the great work that Shaw's done, the great work that Milliken's done, the industry's doing really great things. And the challenge that I have to do is I have to find a balance between doing that exciting work that's really driving sustainability improvements, but also balancing the resources that are now starting to be required to meet the increase in all of these reporting requirements. And so I think there's a balance, but really trying to wade through all of the regulations, the standards, the certifications to ensure that we're focused on the work that's going to drive sustainability and make us, all in a better position for the future.
Thanks. Kellie, you want to talk about some of the challenges you all are facing at Shaw?
Absolutely. And none of this good work comes without those challenges. That is just that's the work. That's the hard part every day. And for Shaw, it's really in our vast supply chain. It's the vastness of the opportunities to educate suppliers about our expectations. And, they expect that says, we want to talk about service, we want to talk about performance, we want to talk about price, we want to talk about those traditional metrics, but to have those clear expectations around disclosing and participating in the programs, all the myriad things that we need the suppliers to be along for the ride with us and on board with us and supporting us has been a new landscape in the last, 5, 10, 15 years or so. I will also say another tie to supply chain is really reverse logistics. For example, is the person we sold that flooring to the person who's still occupying the space or still owning the home or whatever when it's time to recycle that material? And the answer is probably not. Probably not, because you mentioned durability, Malisa. The carpet outlasts, multiple users. And so it's about connecting with and establishing partners all along that value chain. That's a huge challenge and just a huge connection point of opportunity. And then lastly, I'll mention the overall challenge, which is the complexity that Malisa mentioned. There are a multitude of sustainability attributes and preferences, and it probably started out as environmentalism that people really had a sensitivity about. The word even evolved to just being sustainability. And now it's maybe even there's another stage in there where it went to CSR for corporate social responsibility. Now we're talking ESG and environmental, social, and governance. And there's another corporate political responsibility. There's so many aspects of sustainability to represent this work. The complexity actually comes from about 20 or more issues that fall under our sustainability umbrella when it comes from a materiality assessment standpoint. So if you look at how we even ask our stakeholders those questions, there's about 20 categories of topics, and then to prioritize your efforts, to have your stakeholders clearly articulate to you what's important to them. I've been in this field a very, very long time, and I don't think I always cringe a little when people ask me to simplify this complexity. And I don't think it's possible to simplify the complexity that is sustainability. I actually think we should all work on our language there and talk about shared clarity, because the complexity is not going away. Those 20 market expectations around sustainability are not going to go away. But it is, our challenge is to help people gain clarity and help them align their values with their purchases.
Well, thanks, Kelly. When you were talking about durability, it reminded me of something I heard early on when I started in the industry, that carpet doesn't really wear out, it just uglies out. And so you're right. It's probably not the same person getting rid of it that purchased it. And Sarah, I'm going to let you wrap up with the challenges that you're seeing.
Absolutely. So one thing I'm proud of, for 16 years, we've been named one of the world's most ethical companies by Ethisphere. And they're a leader in defining and advancing the standard of ethical business practices. With that said, we offer full material transparency, very similar to what Kelly's been talking about. And so we ensure that all of our carpet in the Americas, Asia, Australia, as well as a portion of Europe, are red list free. The overarching idea, if you're not aware of transparency, is that a user should be able to look up the ingredients of a building material, much like label ingredients in the food that we eat. But to address human health, some programs, like Kelly mentioned, with Cradle to Cradle, or third-party certifications, communicate the known hazards associated with those ingredients. Another one being the Living Building Challenge, or the International Living Future Institute. They have a red list free status, which indicates that a product contains none of the harmful chemicals listed on this list. Well, over the years, we've prioritized knowing our suppliers, getting to know their suppliers and their suppliers, because we disclose 100% of our ingredients. So here's the challenge, and Kelly, we're in the same boat here: maintaining full material transparency, especially red list free status, with supply chain challenges and constant changes.